Hey everyone, so I'm here to talk to you about this book written by former Army General H.R. McMaster. He is very insightful. If you want to learn more about what's going on in the world from a real good source, this is it. He's a former Army officer. He was an Army officer for 34 years, and when he retired in 2018, he was a lieutenant general. So he's got a lot of insight in what's going on in the world. He also, of course, was the National Security Advisor to the President for 13 months until he resigned, so he learned a lot more from that. He gives a lot of insight on how relations between our country and China, Iran, North Korea, Iran, I mentioned Iran twice, but Russia as well. And he's also, a lot of people don't know, he's also got a PhD in history, and he's taught history at West Point. So this guy knows a lot, has a lot of valuable knowledge. So I'll just get right to it. I wrote down a few excerpts out of the book that I found interesting. One is he mentioned that a gentleman by the name of Nikolai Patrushev, who was the secretary of the Security Council of Russia and the former FSB director from 1999 till 2008. And I'll mention the FSB is the successor organization to the KGB. It's actually located in the same building in Moscow that the KGB used to be headquartered in. Anyways, General McMaster said that Nikolai Patrushev said that in early 2018, the U.S. knew that Russia had conducted the NotPetya cyber attack that first infected Ukraine's government, agencies, energy companies, metro systems, and banks. Later it spread to Europe, Asia, and the Americas and cost over $10 billion in losses. Now that's a quote from Nikolai Patrushev, according to General McMaster. Now General McMaster said that in the late 1990s, Putin was the head of the GKU, and that's the government's inspectorate charged with uncovering fraud and corruption in the government and federal agencies, and Putin used this position to build dossiers on the oligarchs which he could use later on. Now think about that. Putin was put in charge of the government agency that's in charge of uncovering fraud and all kinds of other illegalities in the government, and he is now the biggest mobster of them all. But before this position, he was appointed this position, I believe in 1996, and up until 1996 he was the deputy mayor of St. Petersburg. So he was kind of like the number 2 in command of St. Petersburg, but he was involved in a lot of corruption in St. Petersburg, a lot. And so for him to be in charge of the anti-corruption agency is kind of a joke. But he has used that information, like General McMaster said, against the other oligarchs, because now he's the biggest oligarch. Now another agency I'll mention is the GRU. Now, let's not confuse that with the GKU. That's the agency I just mentioned with Putin. The GRU was the Foreign Military Intelligence Agency of the Soviet Union until it was disbanded on May 7th, 1992, when the Soviet Union fell. But then a new organization popped up for Russia, and which would also be considered Russia's military intelligence agency, and it's also commonly called the GRU. But anyways, a part of the GRU is the Internet Research Agency, and General McMaster said that the Internet Research Agency arm of the GRU used all social media in 2016 They reached 126 million on Facebook, posted 10.4 million tweets, uploaded over 1,000 videos on YouTube, and connected with over 20 million Instagram users. Putin's playbook depends heavily on disinformation and denial or propaganda. And General McMaster said that Putin said that China is our strategic partner, and then Chairman Xi, the president of China, said that President Putin is our best friend and colleague. Now, General McMaster mentioned one of China's policy is called Made in China 2025. This is designed to make China a largely independent science and technology innovation power, which will be achieved by creating high-tech monopolies inside China and stripping foreign companies of their intellectual property through theft and forced technology transfer. So that's how China is becoming a rising power, by just stealing everyone else's hard-earned intellectual property. And then he mentioned the One Belt, One Road initiative, which is the largest infrastructure project in world history, where China goes around to foreign countries, offers them multi-billion-dollar loans to build things like ports, dams, and railways, and then when the countries can't repay the loans, China comes back and says, okay, we own those now, or we get this in return. He said in Ecuador, China financed the building of a multi-billion-dollar dam located at the base of it's in the jungle at the base of an active volcano. In return for financing this multi-billion-dollar dam, China would get 80% of Ecuador's oil exports at a discount, which China turns around and sells at a higher price for a profit. The dam opened in 2016, and then in 2018 thousands of cracks were discovered in the machinery of the dam, and it was also clogged up with silt and trees. And when they first turned on the turbines of the dam, that shorted out the national electric grid. So these are the kind of wonderful things that China's doing for other countries. General McMaster mentioned Article 7 of China's National Intelligence Law, and this article says that all organizations and citizens must support, assist with, and collaborate in national intelligence work and guard the national intelligence work secrets they are privy to. And this is kind of in relation to China's social credit score system, where every citizen starts with 1,000 points. If you do good things in general in life, you'll gain points, but if you do bad things, even something simple as jaywalking across the street, you'll lose points. And one of the ways to gain points is to rat out other people that are doing things they shouldn't. And this is causing even family members to rat each other out, because one of the ways to lose points is if you lose enough points to be downgraded into a lower credit tier, then that can cause your family members to lose points. It can also cause parents to lose the ability to send their kids to good schools, even if their kid could be the best student in China, the smartest, hardworking student in China, but still won't be able to get in a good school if their parents' credit score is not good, which is horrible. Another thing that General McMaster mentioned is the Ministry of State Security conducts espionage through the usual ways like cyber theft. The Chinese Communist Party also has Chinese students and scholars in the United States and other foreign universities and research labs steal technology. He said the returning scholars and scientists, when they return to China, are then sent to one of the 150 overseas Chinese scholar pioneering parks located in high technology development zones to brief the party on everything they have stolen. The former National Security Agency Director General, Keith Alexander, he said that Chinese cyber espionage is responsible for the greatest transfer of wealth in history, and the U.S. Council of Economics Advisors estimated that the loss from all this theft in 2016 alone was over $109 billion, and that's growing exponentially. There's a hacking squad known as AP-10, and it targeted U.S. companies, NASA, and the Department of Defense labs. All this theft is helping build China's military, amid other things. General McMaster said the People's Liberation Army has used stolen technologies to build advanced military capabilities like hypersonic missiles, anti-satellite weapons, laser weapons, modern ships, stealth fighter aircraft, electromagnetic railguns, and unmanned systems. And I remember I forget the name of that popular stealth fighter that Lockheed Martin builds, but if I remember correctly, I read that China stole the plans for that jet and has built a duplicate model for their own Air Force. General McMaster said China's goal is to outmatch the United States militarily. Also, he mentioned like drones, and there was an article recently in the Wall Street Journal about Chinese-made drones spying on Americans and other foreigners that use those drones. Anyways, DJI is a popular drone maker. They have 70% of the drone market, and the U.S. Army has already banned DJI drones from use because of their potential to spy on the Army. But I would think it's only a matter of time before DJI drones are banned from America. So I guess that'll be interesting. He said they use stolen technology to make less expensive. Oh yeah, when companies go to do business in China, they're kind of forced to partner with Chinese companies, and which typically are state-owned companies, and in order to do business there. So if you want to do business in China, you got to partner with a similar company over there in China. And General McMaster said, they'll make a lot of money in the short term, but during that short-term money-making period, the Chinese company is stealing their intellectual property, and once they've got it all, then they'll start making duplicate products for less money and put the American company out of business. And in China, and sometimes put them out of business completely because they've got all their intellectual property. Another interesting thing that General McMaster pointed out is many Chinese companies, directly or indirectly are involved in domestic human rights abuses and the violation of international treaties. And he mentioned a lot of these companies are listed on stock exchanges here in the U.S. He said there's over 700 Chinese companies on the New York Stock Exchange and 62 companies on the NASDAQ. And he mentioned one company as an example. It's called Hikvision. That's Hikvision, Hikvision. He said it's a company responsible for facial recognition technology that monitors the movements of the ethnic Uyghurs over there in China. He he said their cameras are installed on the walls of Chinese concentration camps, and where the Uyghurs are in detention. So, and those camps are in Xinjiang in China. So anyways, those are just a few of the tidbits. It's just a tiny fraction of this book. I mean, this book is over 500 pages long. But again, if you want to learn a lot of important stuff, what's going on in the world, get the book Battlegrounds by H.R. McMaster. You'll really enjoy it. It's very insightful. Thank you.